So let us continue the discussion on the topic exemptions from GST. Within exemption from GST, if you remember, we have been discussing section 11 subsection 1, or you can say section 6 subsection 1 of the IGST Act, 11.1 of the CGST Act and 6.1 of the IGST Act, where exemptions have been given through notifications. Now exemptions can be given for supply of goods as well as for supply of services. As far as supply of goods are concerned, that already we have covered, but supply of services is a little bit lengthy discussion. Services I have divided on the basis of my understanding the services which are exempt under different categories, and around 7 to 8 categories I have covered till last lecture, like education, health, charitable, religious activities, legal activities, educational activities. So some activities I have already covered, and let me start now today with my next activity, what we can say next heading of services, where the services provided are exempt from tax. So let me share with you my notepad. I hope the screen is visible, and let me now start with my 8 services related to admission tickets, you can say. When I go and purchase the ticket for entering in any tiger reserve, zoo, circus, national parks, then whatever admission ticket fee I pay, is GST included in that or not? This is the concept. So there are some exemptions given. So it is now services of right to admission in certain events. Now some services are exempt. So now these entry numbers, there is no need for you to learn. Now services by way of admission to zoo, to a zoo, national park, museum, okay, wildlife sanctuary, tiger reserves. So whatever admission ticket you pay, whatever amount you pay to get admission in these things, like you go and visit Delhi's zoo, so the price which you will pay, that is without GST. There is no need to pay any GST on that. It's exempt. Similarly, services by way of admission to a protected monument like Qutub Minar, okay, Taj Mahal, etc. There is no GST on the ticket price which you pay there because of this exemption given. Then related to circus, services by way of admission to circus, theater, dance performances. So many shows are organized related to these. Now about those. Sporting event, where you go and watch any sport by purchasing tickets in any stadium. Award functions, musical performances, where you go and purchase the ticket. If such contribution, if the amount of contribution, or if the consideration is less than equal to rupees 500 per person, then that is exempt. Beyond 500 per person is taxable. This is what the point of services of right to admission in various events. So technically exemption is given for small events, you can say. If it is a big event, then nowhere you can purchase a ticket of 500 rupees. Now there is no limit on the amount as far as these 2 points are concerned, but the amount point is only for this item. That's it. This is my 8th item. Next item, 9th category. Services provided by the government. Now government of India is also providing, not government of India only, in fact state governments also provide so many services to the citizens, or if not to the citizens but to other parties also. So what about those? So let me tell you only relevant ones. So the relevant point is services by the central government, state government, union territory / local authority. Unlimited services are provided by these authorities, but there is an exception. So every service provided by these authorities is exempt, but some are not exempt. So what are not exempt is first. So what is not exempt? When Department of Post provide these services by the Department of Post, by way of speed post, life insurance. I'm only writing relevant ones, etc. Provided, or in fact I should not use the word etc. Speed post, life insurance, express parcel post, provided to a person other than the central government, state government, union territory. When this department provide these post services, then these are not only provided to the individuals only. In fact, government also gets the services. For example, government wants to send some documents to some other party, so technically government also avails the services. If Haryana Public Service Commission wants to send admit cards through post, then in that case government is availing the services. So when the Department of Post is providing such services, speed post, parcel post, to anyone other than these government, then it is subject to GST. Like if you go and do service speed post, then that amount, for example, you are paying 30 rupees, that will include GST in that. Second point, transportation of goods or passengers. When the government is transporting goods or passengers, like through railways they are doing it. Different buses of state government exist. Haryana roadways we have, Uttar Pradesh roadways we have. So when these are engaged in transportation of goods or passengers, I'm not saying that these are taxable, but these are not exempt under this heading. So when something is not covered under one heading, you should not generalize the point that it is taxable. No, it might be exempt under other category, but exemption under this category is not available. Then, third point, services in relation to an aircraft, aeroplane, or a vessel. Any services in relation to an aircraft, airborne or through ship, if provided by the government, then that is subject to the purview of GST. And last is services other than above three services. Provided to business entities. When the government provides other than these three services to not individuals but to business people, then that is not exempt. Whether that is taxable or not, that I will check other headings. But under this heading, exemptions cannot be availed. This, so I'm telling you only relevant ones because the list of exemption is very lengthy, and only relevant ones you are supposed to do. Relevant is again very subjective decision. So what I'm thinking is relevant, that I'm discussing. The next point is related to same heading, services by the government. Services provided by same central government, state government, union territory and local authority, where the amount of such service or the consideration for such service is less than equal to rupees 5,000. That's it. But this also has an exception. Not exemption, exceptions. Any service provided by the government, if the amount which is charged by that government does not exceed 5,000 is tax free. But in some cases it is not tax free. And what is that? Same thing. Point number 1 is same, point number 2 is same, and point number 3 is same. So same points, that is point 1, 2 and 3 written in entry number 6 above. So the same exception is available here. Like this Department of Post, Speed Post, the value is much less than 5,000 rupees. So had they not written the exception, here, do you know what people would have done? They would have said that if they are availing speed post service which is of only 50 rupees, for example, they would have said that 50 rupees might not be exempt under entry number 6, but they could have claimed that exemption in entry number 9. That is why it is necessary that here also exception must be mentioned. So that is why I repeatedly say that if something is exempt, if not exempt under one point, or if exempt under one point or not exempt under one point, don't generalize the conclusion, read the entire heading of exemption, and then you finally give your answer whether it should be exempt or taxable. One service might not be exempt under one heading, it might become exempt under another heading. Then another relevant point is passport services related to passport. I repeat that only relevant points I am discussing, otherwise the list is very lengthy. Services provided by the central government, state government, union territory, local authority by way of issue of passport. Visa, driving license, or death certificate. So in these cases, irrespective of the amount charged, it is tax free. So no need to pay any tax. Other relevant point The last relevant point should be related to fire certificates, etc. Services provided by the central government, state government, union territory, oblique local authority by way of testing, certificate related to protection of workers, comma, certificates related to protection oblique safety of public at large, of public, like fire licenses, etc. So when you avail these licenses from the fire authority or the fire services, then whatever is the fee, that is without GST. So fire department is giving you the service of issuing these licenses, but that is not with GST, it is GST free because of this heading. Now this much is sufficient when you do the heading services provided by the government. But so many times services are provided to the government also. So my next heading is different. Now it is services provided to the government. Two. Now what services government is availing? So about their taxability. So the relevant points are so let me discuss only relevant ones. Related to GST itself. Services provided by the Goods and Services Tax Network, GSTN, Goods and Services Tax Network, to the central government, state government, oblique union territories for implementation of GST. So we have this separate network, GST and GST network, which deals with registration issues, refund issues, etc. It provides some services to the government for implementation of GST. So that was tax free. No GST was required. Next relevant point is services provided to the central government, state government, union territory under any insurance schemes for which total premium is paid by them. So government also will so many times insurance where government pays the premium. In that case, insurance company is not supposed to collect any GST from the government. It is tax free. That's it. For your level, you please concentrate only on these two which are provided to the government. Next point. Pension services. Now the list of exemption is very lengthy. I'm saying again. So I'm discussing only which I'm thinking is relevant from your point of view. Otherwise, in reality, everything is relevant. But somewhere we have to draw a line and we have to decide based upon the level and situations that what is good. So entry number CGST Act and entry number IGST Act. Now we have Atal Pension Yojana. So whosoever collects the premium that is without GST, services by way of collection of contribution under the Atal Pension Yojana. This is one thing which is tax free. Then services by way of collection of contribution under any pension scheme of the state governments. If the state government comes out with any pension scheme, then the premium, whosoever will collect that, is without GST. So those services are tax free. Services provided by or to the business facilitator, public correspondents. Now, who are these correspondent or facilitators? See, in India, still financial inclusion is a distant reality. We must be living in metropolitan cities, so we might be thinking that everyone is comfortable with banks. In reality, it is not the case. In villages or in rural areas, still people are hesitant to invest in banks or these authorized financial institutions, I can say. They don't have so much of trust or awareness or literacy to go in any bank and do some work. So we have intermediaries officially appointed by banks. For example, SBI will appoint Mr. X for its rural branch in any village of Tamil Nadu. For example, in Tamil Nadu, we have SBI has any branch in rural area. So SBI might appoint one person, Mr. X, as the business facilitator or on bank's behalf. So the job of that business facilitator will be what? To aware the public or the villagers to come and invest or open the accounts in that rural branch, etc. Similarly, insurance services are not so acceptable at a rural level. Insurance companies can also appoint business facilitator who bridge a gap between the company, insurance company or the bank and between the account holders or the villagers. So technically business facilitator is also providing some services to the bank or to the insurance company. Bank might be also providing some services to the business facilitator. Now facilitator's job is only to bridge a gap between bank and villager. Technically he cannot do anything. He cannot make any promise on behalf of the bank. He cannot open any bank account. Everything will be done at the rural branch level, but his job is to bridge the gap of communication. For this, some charges will be given to the facilitator, some commission will be given to the facilitator. So now I am dealing with that exemption which is granted to business facilitators. Entry number CGST Act, entry number IGST. So entry number exactly I don't know, I have forgotten, so I will tell you later on what is that exact entry number, but which services are covered here. Services by the following persons in the following capacities. A point. Business facilitator, business correspondent to a banking company. So business facilitator and business correspondent to a banking company with respect to. Now only rural areas are covered. If in urban area you appoint a business facilitator, that exemption is not covered here. With respect to its branch in a rural area. With respect to accounts in its rural area branch. Business facilitator or the business correspondent to an insurance company in a rural area. Entry number is, let me see what is the entry number, though that is not necessary, but since we are writing the entry number for all other services, why to miss this? So let me see the entry number. Entry number is 39 and 40. Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
39 and 40. Next service. Banking and financial service. Now, banking and financial services. Reserve Bank of India provides so many services. All are GST free. Services provided by RBI. RBI provides so many services to different banks also. But whatever RBI provides to anyone, tax free. Tax free means not income tax. We are discussing GST, so by default my tax means GST. So GST free services provided by RBI. Banks are also providing us loans at some interest rate. We are also depositing in bank and we are earning the interest. Technically, it's also a service, tax free. Services by way of what? Extending deposits, loans, advances. Insofar as consideration involved is by way of interest. Oblique discount. Except the interest in credit card. Tax free. Now you go in any bank and take some loan. You can take housing loan, educational loan. Technically, you are availing the banking services. Bank is giving you a loan and will be earning every month interest. On that interest, there is no GST extra added. It is tax free because of this point. Entry number 27 of CGST or 28 of IGST. So whatever housing loan, car loan, personal loan, whatever loan you take, whatever interest you pay, entire interest is towards this loan amount. Nothing goes, or nothing amount, or no amount is hidden in that interest amount by the name GST. But only interest amount is tax free. If you pay other charges, for example, when I'm taking housing loan, I'm paying 6,000 or 7,000 as fee, annual fee or whatever charges fee, documentation fee, that is not exempt. On that GST will be charged. Only on that amount of loan or deposits or any advances by whatever name, interest component is there, that is GST free. Other than interest component, whatever amount is charged by the bank, GST is involved. But in case of credit card, that interest is also subject to GST because they charge a heavy rate of interest. So technically by default, that GST is also, that interest is also subject to GST. That much is sufficient for your level. Next one, insurance services. And this insurance is life insurance related services. So for general insurance, we have separate list. For life insurance, we have separate list. Life insurance, let me tell you relevant ones only. No, I don't know whether if your parents are in government job, you can check the salary slip of your parents, and every month they will be having some deduction from the salary slip in the name of GIS, government insurance schemes. These are basically group, not government insurance scheme, group insurance scheme. These are group insurances where very less premium per month is charged, and in case some unfortunate situation happens like death, lump sum amount of 10 lakh, 5 lakh, depending upon how much monthly contribution charge is given to the family of the person who has died. These are group insurance schemes. These are not only for you but for the group. That is why the premium is very less and the amount covered is high as compared to the premium charged. Technically, it's like a service. Like for example, if my institution covers my life with the name group insurance scheme, technically I am availing the services. My institute is providing the group insurance service to me, that is tax free. The entire amount of premium is without GST. So this is first entry in case of life insurance. So services of life insurance business provided by the Army, Indian Army, Indian Navy or Air Force to members of these Army, Navy and Air Force under the group insurance schemes GIS of the central government, tax free. (29B), 30B. Services of life insurance business provided by Central Armed Police Forces, CAPF, Central Armed Police Forces, to their members, under the group insurance schemes of the concerned Central Armed Police Forces, tax free. Services of life insurance business provided under the following schemes. So there are so many different schemes available. Here also it is without GST. Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. Not every life insurance business service is tax free. You must remember that. It's not that every life insurance business is tax free. Only selected are tax free. Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. Aam Aadmi Bima Yojana. So these are some names which you can remember. That's it. Only these you remember. So not every life insurance business service is tax free. Only these for your level are tax free. For your level only. I'm repeating that I'm not covering each and every heading in detail. Only selected points are covered. Now, general insurance business. That was life, and now we have general insurance business services. Now, services of general insurance business covered under the following schemes. You can say the word suitable word is provided under the following schemes. General insurance relevant ones I will cover. प्रधानमंत्री फसल बीमा योजना. फसल बीमा योजना. प्रधानमंत्री सुरक्षा बीमा योजना. राष्ट्रीय स्वास्थ्य बीमा योजना. That's it. That's it. In general insurance, you only cover these points. Next. Now we have some special bodies, special trust. What about those? So let me have a separate heading with the name services provided by specified bodies. Now, which relevant bodies? Like SEBI is also providing the services. Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority is also providing the services. So I can say that Services provided by IRDA, Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority. Services provided by the Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority, by IRDA, to insurers is tax free. SEBI is also providing the services to investors. Services provided by the SEBI, Securities and Exchange Board of India, by way of, now what type of services? By way of protecting the interest of investors in securities, investors in securities, and to promote the development and regulation of the securities market. Tax-free service. So whatever price they will charge to promote these things, tax-free, that will be without GST. The consideration, if any, will be without GST. That much is sufficient in this heading. Next, skill development services. To make the country employed or the youth employed, it is necessary to provide skills where they pass out or any person can do the job. So special skills are required. Now what types of services are covered here? Skill development services. Now skills can be provided by even coaching centers, but every such service is not covered as exempt, otherwise the government will lose the revenue. The people will come and do tax evasion. So while giving exemption, it is necessary to make sure that genuine exemptions are given. Entry number of IGST. So, now services provided by whom, which institutions, that is necessary. So we have NSDC, National Skill Development Corporation of the Government of India. The National Skill Development Corporation. Set up by the Government of India. That's it. In this entry, though there are other institutes also, but I want to tell you only this much. And one more you should cover in this heading, one more. Services provided by training providers under, there is a scheme which is known as Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gramin Koshan Yojana. So under ministries, different schemes are formulated which gives amount to different agencies so that training programs are initiated. Like UGC under education ministry, UGC gives grants to the institutions so that education services are provided. So there is a scheme, Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gramin Kaushalya Yojana under the Ministry of Rural Development. How to develop the villages? Under the Ministry of Rural Development, Government of India. So under this ministry, there is a scheme, this scheme, and under this scheme, there may be thousands of institutions which will train the youth in rural area. That may be free of course, that may be with some cost. But whatever these training providers are providing, those courses even at some fee, that fee is without GST. That's it. By offering skill or vocational training courses. To make sure that in India we have skilled laborers. Skilled labor or skilled human being has the capacity to earn not only for himself or herself but for the family also. So the government cannot provide job to each and everyone. So at least people must be capable enough to have their own businesses, though at small level doesn't matter, but at least they will be an asset to them, to themselves and to their family members and to the society as a whole. That is why different programs are being provided at different levels. Or vocational training courses which are certified, approved, you can say, by the National Council. It's not that you can launch any program. Your program must be approved by National Council for Vocational Training. So there are bodies which keep an eye that everything regulated must be imparted. Like UGC keeps an eye on the institutions that which degree should be given. It's not that colleges can be having their own degree. If it is so, then every college will be having hundreds of degrees by having different names. UGC tells only this degree should be imparted and not every degree. Next, passenger transportation services. Now through rail, roads, ships, passengers are transported. You book a ticket on IRCTC. Have you seen whether GST is applicable or not? So in passenger transportation services, what type of services are exempt? Now from now onwards, you should carefully check your tickets when you book ticket through air mode or railway. If sleeper class having different concept, air conditioner AC chair car different concepts. So first point, when it talks about passengers through air mode or non-air mode, so the main point is transport of passengers. It does not matter whether that passenger is accompanying some baggage or without baggage. Passengers with or without baggage. We are using the word with or without accompanied belongings. By, so transportation of passengers by that is which mode? Air mode. And from where the journey is taken or where the journey is ended? Embarking. From, so where you are taking the journey or terminating, or where you are ending the journey. From northeastern states or to northeastern states, if you book the air ticket, that will be without GST. or terminating in an airport located in, because government wants to make sure that people go to northeastern states also, because that will provide employment opportunities to the people who live there for tourism purposes, in an airport located in Arunachal Pradesh, all northeastern states, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim, Tripura, and one airport, Bagdogra in West Bengal. From Calcutta, if you are taking the flight, then GST will be charged, but Bagdogra in West Bengal, you catch any flight from there or you go there from Delhi to Arunachal, GST will not be charged. First one. But take the flight from Delhi to Chennai, GST will be charged. Now, other than air, if you come to non-air mode, then it will check whether it is AC or non-AC. So if it is non-air conditioned, mode, so non-air conditioned contract carriage, we call this as contract carriage. You can simply write as mode also. Other than radio taxi, non-air conditioned contract carriage other than radio for transportation of passengers, except what? Tourism. Except tourism, except tourism, except hire, except tour, tax free. Like for example, if I am traveling uh, in non-AC, if I am traveling in non-AC rail, sleeper class, in rail, if I am traveling through non-air condition, that means in India, sleeper class is without AC. There is no GST. But if you travel in AC, then there will be GST. You can check the tickets. Further, even if these are non-AC, but if these are specially hired, suppose you hire a train specially, you can hire the train, you can hire a bogie also. Especially you can have your separate own bogie. So if you are hiring the bogie separately, even if non-AC, then you have to pay GST. Because it says in these non-air conditioned modes, you must make sure that these non-AC modes are not hired for tourism purposes, or these are not specially for you or for any tour. Then only GST is exempt, otherwise not. Otherwise no. Then what about state transports? So that is known as stage carriage. Other than AC stage carriage. Now technically these are having different meanings. Radio taxis, stage carriages. So that I am not discussing for the time being. Next point. So we are discussing transportation of passengers. The next relevant point is this part. Services of transportation of passengers with or without accompanied belongings. By. Now these are specially for different modes. By rail. So what I have told you that when something is not exempt in one category, just don't generalize the conclusion that it is taxable. Like in my case, in B point, I told you that if you travel by AC coach from Indian Railways, then exemption is not available under this point because it is giving exemption only to non-ACs. So I told you that it is taxable. In reality, you should not generalize this conclusion till you read other provisions. Why I have told you that it is taxable? Because I knew the earlier provision, knew the other provision also. But as a fresher, you might not be knowing that other provision also. It is other than non-AC, it is taxable. Why? Because my second point is also making that taxable. So it is saying that if you travel by rail in a class which is other than AC class, then it is taxable. So by default, here also I can say that in AC class, if you are traveling, you have to pay GST. If you are traveling in sleeper class, then you don't need to pay any GST. Traveling in metro, exempt. You are not paying any GST when you travel through Delhi metro. Had there been GST, it would have been cost more, so your fare would have risen. So no GST you are paying. Public transport like DTC buses or any state buses, public transport. But this public transport is not only about road, it is about ships. Public transport other than mainly for tourism purpose. In a vessel. So if I am using the word vessel, I want to talk about sea transport, water transport. In a vessel between two places located in India. Like if you are traveling to Andaman and Nicobar Island, and from Calcutta you are traveling through ship. Now normally people don't go through ships to Andaman; they directly take a flight. But suppose you want to travel in a vessel and covering the distance from Calcutta port to Andaman and Nicobar. You might be going for, but the ship is not for tourism purpose, because normal people who are living in Andaman and Nicobar, they might be communicating for the normal business activity or for the normal work. So that public transport, in that ship, there might be some people who are tourists, but the intention of that ship is not for tourism purpose, it is for anyone. So in that case, whatever is the ticket cost of that public transport between places located in India, between Calcutta port and Andaman, it is tax free. That means without GST. So the fare, suppose the fare is 7,000 rupees, that is without GST. There is no GST involved. Auto rickshaws. If you travel through auto rickshaws, no GST involved. Because technically the area of GST is huge. It is much bigger than income tax, because everything is a service nowadays. Everything. So every service is taxable. Most of the people are not at all aware even today that in reality they are providing this service. Income tax act, most of the people are aware, not about the act, at least income tax. But GST, nowadays people are aware, but still they don't think that what they are doing is technically service. If I'm teaching, I'm providing a service right now. I'm teaching on behalf of the institution. Technically, I'm providing this service to the institution right now. So in most of the situations, you never know that in reality you are performing this service. And why? Because if my aggregate turnover does not exceed 10 lakh or 20 lakh or 40 lakh, I'm not supposed to pay any GST. That is only because of those people who are small service providers, I can say. That registration has not been made mandatory and there is no need to collect GST, of course, then. Otherwise, you must know the provisions of exemptions in detail. Now, metered cabs or auto rickshaws, e-rickshaws. If e-rickshaw provider is, if you are availing the services of e-rickshaw, technically e-rickshaw provider is providing you the services, supplying the service. E-rickshaws, tax free. But whatever 10 rupees or 20 you are paying, that is without GST. Why? Because the turnover of that e-rickshaw provider is less. In fact, even if it is 1 crore, for example, still that is without any GST because of this entry, exempt. So 18 services I have covered. Next. So I think we should wait here. And in the next class, we will start with our next heading, goods transportation services. Goods transportation services. So the list is huge. That is why I am covering the points with respect to different categories, because when you divide these in different categories, it becomes little bit easy to learn. Anyhow, so that's all from my side. Goodbye.